Everyone sees the brand.
but nobody sees the build.
I'm Cindy.
And I'm Justin. And this is the MATRX Method. All right. Welcome back to the MATRX Method podcast. Today we are without our partner, Cindy. She's going through some laryngitis right now. I think you may be able to see her on the screen. And we have our in-house resident AI specialist back with us, Mr. Dan Grams. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, Justin. Hey, Cindy. How are you guys doing today? Besides the laryngitis.
Just sign that you're doing great. She's doing great, folks, even though you can't hear her. Well, I'm excited to have you back on, Dan. I'm not surprised by this, but every time we have you on, we get exponentially more downloads and listens. I think everybody wants to know what is the latest and greatest with AI. We can barely keep up with it. You have cute kitties, and everybody wants to catch up with them. So What's going on, Dan? Update us.
Well, first update is, let's see, this guy is almost 3 pounds. He's doing great. Little Quintus. He's been attacking my feet all morning, but that's what kittens do at this stage. So, and beyond that, business is doing great. I've gotten a lot of interest in our new AEO audit tool that I just rolled out. We've had it going for a few months. And at the beginning of the month, I did a complete rebuild of it. So it's on version 2 now, and it looks at 40 different metrics across a website to see where you are with SEO, AEO, and GEO. And I'm going to pull up my screen and kind of give a demo for you, and we can kind of talk through everything as we do that.
Yeah,
so
and as you pull this up, so this is something that I've started showing our clients. If you have, most of our clients have a new website and new products, or maybe they have something that's been established, but they're trying to upgrade it. And this is an easy tool that you created. You can check these metrics, make sure that your products are going to be found by Claude and ChatGPT and Grok and everybody else, right?
Absolutely. And right now, there's kind of 2 tools that I use for everybody before I do an engagement. I use my own proprietary tool, and then I also use Google PageSpeed Insights because that's kind of the gold standard that you definitely want to make sure that you're ranking well with Google. So we'll walk through a real quick audit of my own site, and then we'll also look at a couple sites that are in the aesthetic space with our good friend Zanoli's website, and then a couple other just random websites that I found that are in the same space she is, and we'll just kind of see where everybody ranks. So on mine, you can see we come in 100, 100, 100. All 40 tests come through. Everything's a pass. And this is the full readout of everything that we're checking. We look at everything very comprehensively, and this test evolves as new things come out, as new white papers are released from the search engines or the AI companies. We try to glean them. We try to understand what they're looking at and add things in. So this test will definitely, every couple of weeks, I'm adding new things to it. So we can quickly look at founded by Z. And another feature that is kind of nice that is built into this is you can compare yourself to one of your competitors. So we just found this other random site, and we're going to stack up kind of a little bake off between founded by Z. And I won't say the competitor's name just because I don't know them. I don't want to cause any bad blood between somebody who may come out and be a potential client someday, but we're just going to do a little comparison here. And the test is quick. It takes less than a minute. It runs through everything. It'll look at all the metrics, and then it also gives you a link that you can share that. So say you come up and you say, you know what, not happy with this, and I already am working with somebody for my SEO. I can just copy the link and throw it into chat, and it'll pull up the test right for them so they don't have to type in anything.
Nice.
But we can see that when we do the bake-off, it'll show that Zanoli has 100 versus her competitor that has a 78. So the difference is 22 points there.
Wow.
On AEO, it's a 36-point difference. And on GEO, 22-point difference. So definitely a good thing to know. And then let's say you're the competitor and they just want to look at what are they doing that they could improve. So we're going to pull them up.
Now,
Same one we
Dan,
just ran against Zanoli. Yeah.
So while you pull that up, let's reset just for a second for the folks who haven't seen our previous podcasts or just techno dummies like me. I think everyone knows what SEO means. Refresh us again real quick, the terminology. What is AEO and GEO?
Absolutely. So SEO is just basic search engine optimization. And then AEO is kind of the new kid on the block. It's agentic engine optimization and answer engine optimization, kind of uses interchangeably. And that's where if you pull up a search in Google and that top answer block says, it kind of gives you what you're looking for before you even go to the website. So it's not actually talking to a chatbot yet, but it is an AI generated response that's built into the search results. That's where your AEO score is going to help you. If you rank high there, then it's crawling you and you're going to more than likely start to show up in those answer
In the
blocks.
answers.
And then
Okay.
GEO, exactly. And then GEO is the generative engine optimization. And that's for specifically the chatbots, for Perplexity, for ChatGPT, for Claude. That's where it's going to say, okay, they're able to read this information and then create the response to your question right within the chatbot. So on this one, we can see that the top recommendations that we show to everybody is they need to add an author or expert schema. So that gives them some personal.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that's important. For everyone that's worked with us at Matrix and worked with Dan and used our AI sales trainer Alex, we use all these tools in our own business and in your business and with our clients. Like when you showed Zanoli, like she's one of our best consultants and works with a lot of our clients. So we're using these tools to improve ourselves and help you guys improve all the time. So these diagnostic tools are 100% free. I mean, these are things that you built as a tool for yourself and your clients. And, we'll definitely post these in our Spotify, on our YouTube, our socials, our own website. And for those of you who are a startup company or just want to check in and see how is your company doing on SEO, AEO, and GEO, the stuff is free to use and the page speed. And then when you see any red flags, contact Dan and could change your business, right? Awesome. I'd love to play with this more and do you ever have those products where you're like, I really bought that only because their algorithms and their, the all of the above factors are kind of what led me to buying this. I would have never bought this if I was walking around and saw this t-shirt, but because they're so relevant to my taste and my algorithm, I'm buying it. Yeah. I mean, that's for you small business owners that are using a firm. Maybe you've got somebody on retainer that you're paying monthly to, to develop and maintain, run their site through these tools and see, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. You know what I mean? Yeah, I called Elon and they are coming to install something on the top of my house so I can get perfect reception for their satellite. So I think 2 podcasts from now, I'll be running at Starlink speed, which would be nice. We've had a lot of podcasts cut short because once it gets over 100 degrees here, my Wi-Fi just starts to bog down. It's really weird. And so I'm bringing no content other than I immediately want to run to the internet and play with Dan's diagnostic tools. The in the landing page again is ecomstrategics.com. And then make sure, share if you have a developer, especially if you have them on retainer to maintain your website, share that with them. Run it against your own competition, see how you're doing versus how they're doing, and compete. Get with Dan. Trust me, when we get with Dan, our numbers go way up. I can comment that just working with you at Matrix, that you're not just bringing, SEO, AEO, and GEO analytics to the table. There's been opportunities where we've run things by you and you do, basic business analytics and go, hey, I don't think the math is working here. You guys are thinking about launching this product. The margin is tight. You're wanting to put it on the web and sell it this way. Are you sure? And we look at that and go, hey, you're right. Let's rework the math, or let's talk to the manufacturer and figure out another way to do it. So that's some of the stuff that you do that's, super beneficial and relevant to our industry. So that definitely gives you an edge there. One of the things that I know you've helped out with too is with aesthetic practitioners. We know how competitive it is, surgeon to surgeon or med spa to med spa. And that, even a lot of our customers in this space, not on the industry side, but provider side, need to stay relevant with these tools, right? AEO, SEO, and GEO. One of the things I think about especially when you're selling new tech as a rep to, a plastic shirt, let's just say, just as a generic example, a plastic surgeon in your city, a lot of times one of the big big pieces to the decision whether or not to invest in that technology is who else is doing it, who are what is my competition doing, do I need to be keeping up with the Joneses here, or am I a leader in this category? And I'm thinking, what, if I'm a rep and I am working that angle, why not also use like your diagnostic tool on ecom strategics to say like, well, and they go, hey, is Dr. Jimmy doing this? And you go, you should actually look and see how you perform against Dr. Jimmy. Like, even as a rep, even though it's not 100% relevant to your device that you might be selling this doctor, it might be worth taking a look, using this tool as a consultative tool to help that doctor understand like what the competitive landscape looks like. So like, hey doc, I'm excited to sell you this device for 150,000, but when I put your site versus Dr. Jimmy's site, like, he's crushing you. So you may need to look into this at the same time you're looking into my device, right? And when you give your customer a competitive advantage like that, as a rep, I mean, that is what a good consultative partnership looks like. Like, that doctor's going to want to keep working with you and Dan and competing with Dr. Jimmy forever. So independent reps, I mean, salary reps too, but I would be running your prospect lists through the diagnostic tool, find the winners and start there and show them how you pick them. Like, I would love, as a med spa owner, I would love to see that. How did you decide, that I would be one of the top candidates to launch this new product? Well, you perform the highest on these diagnostics. That means my product is going to see the most patients. Like, you're going to have more eyes on my product, more engagement on my product if I work with you, right? And then as an independent rep too, I know, because I do this every day, I'm reaching out to potential independent reps with amazing new product opportunities all the time. And my reps are always skeptical, as they should be. Like, people are bringing them new gadgets and gizmos and programs to sell all the time. And most of them aren't ready to go to market yet. That's a big part of what we do at MATRX. We help them get ready to go to market, and then we go to market, right? What better than to take that product, take that website, run it through the tool and see how they perform? If they're like red flags and zeros across the board, then share them, introduce them to Dan, right? And let's say, hey, let's pick this up, right? And then if you were that same rep making decision and you run the products through the tool and it's already getting high marks, like, a lot of these products and companies are startups. So, I wouldn't have the expectation that they're all flying high yet, but that's a good way to kind of diagnose which brands you should be working with and which ones are, going to be a ghost for a while, and at least gives you a benchmark to see like, okay, well, what am I going to have to do here? Like, am I going to have to do a lot of marketing on my own, or am I going to go out and, there's going to be some brand recognition here? So I think very useful for everybody in the industry, really. Yeah. Well, it's a great, like, not to discourage any unknown brands. We work with a lot of startups and unknown brands, and that's our specialty. And we all know you got to go to market ASAP and capitalize through sales as soon as possible, right? We're all trying to do that, but it can give you much better direction on where to invest that revenue as it starts to come. I would front load it on things like this, right? And maybe, have fewer sales personnel for a while, maybe hold off on expensive conferences and trade shows and other traditional marketing avenues that cost a lot of money. Work on this first. Optimize yourself, optimize your presence. We have the technology to do it quickly, and then, do the more traditional and expensive things piece by piece as your revenue grows. So back to some of the trends, we're always trying to keep up to speed. I've seen a lot of memes, if you will, and chatter about how AI slop everybody's like flyers and things are now. I mean, I laugh, like, we just created one for my son's birthday party, which is cute, and that's great, to use it for that. But it's funny, it seems like there's been some pushback and some parody, some satire around that. Like, okay, enough of the like AI like promotional tools. Well, and if you're a brand manager, a content creator, whatever the case may be, you're the one putting this stuff out there. Like, it's on you to look at it and use your human intelligence to say, does this look like the same generic flyer that my competition also did with chat or whatever, or Manus? Or was this relevant and helpful and useful? We're still the best judge of that. Or you can run it through multiple engines and refine. Like you said, this is AI assisted content. This is our content, but we don't have the bandwidth to answer 1,000 generic questions a day on LinkedIn. So yeah, we use these tools, right? But we're not just putting generic content out there. Like at the end of the day, like we are still the ones, driving the ship here, right? Right. The point of this stuff is to like the FAQ schema, like find out some bullet points, point you in the right direction, and then engage with us for real. That's the point, right? So I think I'm all for that. Like and sometimes it's fun to just create a silly little flyer for the birthday party. But some of these tools can bring you real leads, real engagement with customers, real helpful training tools, real helpful protocols for your business. And it's exciting to see every couple of weeks when we get together to see how this thing is evolved. It's evolving faster than I could have ever imagined, but it's fun. It's making life productive and freeing us up to do other things that are worth doing in our lives. That's right. That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for coming. Cindy, we're going to work on her voice so we can bring her back next week, and we will see you soon.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Appreciate it.